What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe and healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. It's a Sunday, which means it's time for us to update on COVID in wastewater. And this week we take a look first at the BioBot analytics, and we see that wastewater is either flat or dropping in every region of the United States. Now let's take a look at the CDC wastewater map. If you're new to this video, first off, this is where we take a look at the COVID levels in wastewater each week. So if you want to see this each week or anything else we do on the channel, subscribe down below. So if you're new here, I'm going to tell you what the colors are on the map. Any site that is in white, see these little white dots? That's a new site. There's 132 of them. Any site that is in dark blue, 0 to 19%, that would represent very low levels of wastewater, which there's 726 sites of them. Light blue, 20 to 39%, that's still low, but starting to approach the moderate range, 391 sites of those. This really light blue color, 40 to 59%, that's getting into the moderate range. And that would be 104 sites. And then moderate to near high is 60 to 79%. And there's 22 sites for that. And red, which is really high, red is bad, is 80 to 100%. And there are 7 sites of that. So let's start off in the Northeast like we normally do. We're not going to get to every site, but we're going to get to most sites, and we'll look at some sites that are rising, dropping, holding flat, and so on. Starting off in Maine, we take a look at Cumberland County. 65,000 at this wastewater site, and there's a couple sites there that have 65,000. This is near Portland, and this one is holding flat. There's another one which is much bigger. See if we can find it, because there are some sites showing up as gray today. Here it is, 65,000 at this wastewater site. And it is unfortunately starting to rise, so this is not good, and it's already at light blue, so hopefully it does not rise any further. It is rising at a steady pace, not rapidly rising. Then we come down here to York County in Maine, and this was dropping, only 15,000 at this watershed. It was dropping, has dropped ever so slightly, and now it's starting to flatten off a little bit. We see that there is a moderate to near high site up in New Hampshire, and this is up in northern New Hampshire, 10,000 at this watershed, and unfortunately it is rapidly rising. Should it continue to rise at this rate, it may turn into the red territory. Taking a look at Chittenden County, Vermont, this is near Burlington, 31,000 at this watershed, and things are dropping there, so things are not doing too bad there. Now taking a look at the big wastewater site up in Boston, Massachusetts, Worcester, Norfolk, Suffolk, Plymouth, and Middlesex. 2.4 million population, and unfortunately this is one of those ones that does not update frequently, or when it does, the chart's just rather up, down, or straight across. And in this case it's flat, straight across, so not really too reliable, because there's another site that we look at during our daily pandemic updates, and it did show it slightly dropping. A week ago, it actually showed it rising. Taking a look at Worcester, Massachusetts, 42,000 in this watershed, and this one is, wow, almost straight up, rapidly rising. So that's not good to see. Let's take a look at this sewer shed in Providence, Rhode Island, and it's already at orange, and it's continuing to go up. That's not good. 240,000 in this watershed as well, so that's a bad sign. Now, moving on to New York State, we do have several colorful orange and red areas to look at. This one up in Clinton County, small wastewater shed. It is at moderate, but it is holding steady at this time. Now we have this one here in central New York, I guess you want to call it. 50,727 people. It's coming up red, but it is flat at this time. We now have Delaware County, New York, 3,581 people, and it is rising at this time, already at moderate levels. Here's another one that's rising, Dutchess County, 14,525 people. Not terribly big, but it is rising, so that is concerning. Here's one that is low in Putnam, and only 4,480 people. It's low and rising ever so slightly, we'll call it. Let's take a look at western New York. Erie County, New York, It's relatively flat at this time. If anything, it looks like it may start rising soon. It's at low levels, 24,461 people at this watershed. Let's take a look here. Here's one in southwest Connecticut, Fairfield County. 45,878 people at this watershed. And now coming out to Long Island in Nassau County, 611,349 people. And it is slightly dropping, so that's good to see. And let's take a look at New York City. New York City is a general mixture now. This site here is starting to level off after a rise. This is Queens, 410,000 people. This site here is now dropping. New York, I believe this is near Manhattan, 588,000 people at this watershed. Then we come down here to Kings County, where it's actually rising, and it's rising relatively fast, but this is one of the smaller New York wastewater sites, 192,000 people. Here's another one in Kings with 758,000 people, much bigger in size, and it's flat to rising ever so slightly. Then we come out here to Queens again. This one's rising, 728,000 people. Another Queens, smaller, that's dropping. And wow, look at this in Richmond. Straight up, 198,000 people. This is, I believe, is Staten Island. And wow, look at this. That, if that continues at that, it will fast track to the moderate category. Taking a look at the other site in Richmond, still rising, but not as much, 244,918 people at this wastewater site. Now coming down here to New Jersey. This is a pretty big wastewater site. 1.5 million people. Essex, Bergen, Hudson, Union, Passaic. But it does the same thing that you saw up in Boston, where it's just, it doesn't update that frequently. So chances are this is not what the chart should be looking like. But we'll just take it for what it is, saying it's flat at this time. Then we come down here to Monmouth County. In Monmouth County, we see that the wastewater site does not update all that frequently. And the last update it did have does show there was a significant rise, and now it is at the moderate category. We can assume that may be correct because they just had Memorial Day weekend not too many weeks ago. Let's take a look at Pennsylvania. Montgomery County, which is just outside of Philadelphia. This is a small wastewater site. There's actually 800,000 people that live in Montgomery County, and it's relatively flat at this time, which is good to see. Here's another one for Montgomery County, even smaller waste site, 13,000 people, and it is dropping at this time. Delaware County, very small waste site compared to the county's population, dropping at this time. Chester County, even dropping. Let's do one more around here. 13,500 at this Chester County site and dropping. Unfortunately, we cannot see the three Philadelphia sites. They're still grayed out. There is a reason for that. They're having problems getting the samples checked. They have to mail them to Michigan, apparently. It's a disaster. Center County, Pennsylvania. 90,000 population at this one. I believe this one is the one that's in State College by Penn State University. And it is dropping at this time. But we come over here to the other smaller Center County site, which is on the western portion of State College, or just west of there. 12,000 population at this site. And it is slightly starting to rise. So that's something we will have to watch. Let's move on to this red site in Ohio. In Fayette County, Ohio, 14,000 population, and it is dropping ever so slightly. And one thing you're going to see a lot of, look at this. Look at how many sites are now at the dark blue color in Ohio. That's something we have not seen since we started doing these wastewater updates videos. Here's Richland County, that's dropping. And let's just randomly go on here. Hancock, dropping. Allen, dropping. I mean, look at all these. Mercer, dropping. Drake, dropping. Let's go to Southeast Ohio. Athens, this one's 24,536. That's starting to rise. Let's take a look down here in some Maryland sites. 13,000 at this one. And flat to rising ever so slightly. Here's another one that's flat. Then we come down here to D.C. What's going on in D.C.? District of Columbia, look at that. 1.6 million population, and it's dropping. Here's one in Virginia, Roanoke, and this one in Roanoke City, Salem. 300,000 population, and it is dropping at this time. That is good to see. We'll do another one in Henry County, Virginia. 16,000 population, and it's rising at this time. We do see some red areas in North Carolina. Here's one. 17,000 population, and Union County, but it is starting to drop ever so slightly. Here's this other orange area, and this one is 6,898 people. It is dropping ever so slightly. Then right next to it, you have a bigger population watershed with 120,000 people, and that one is dropping as well. Then we come up here to Northwest North Carolina, 26,000 population, and slightly starting to drop. How about we come over to some of these orange sites in Kentucky? This one, Laurel County, 13,067 people at this watershed, and wow, rapidly rising. So if that continues, that may actually end up going red. Then we come to Western Kentucky, and this one only 5,112 people. It is orange, but mind you, it is dropped. Now let's move on to this red site over here in Arkansas, St. Francis. 13,000 at this watershed. It is red, meaning high, but at the same time it is dropping. Let's take a look up here in Illinois, Chicago area. And we can see there are several sites up in Chicago. This one is dropping, 45,000 people. Here's the big one in Cook County, 1.2 million people, and it is slightly starting to drop. Moving on here to Lake, and this one is still rising ever so slightly with 55,735 people. We'll do a couple more. Here's one, 78,000 people. It is dropping ever so slightly. And here's one more that we'll do. 15,000 people here, and it is dropping. How about up in Wisconsin? What's going on in Wisconsin? Here's 75,000 population, and it's dropping ever so slightly. Then you come over here, Jefferson County, and you can see here 22,300 people, and it's dropping at this time. How about we come up here to Minnesota? Here's Dakota County, 21,834 people, and it is starting to rise, so that's relatively concerning. Here's another one, 1.9 million people. Wow. And look at this. It's dropping. It's flat to slightly dropping at this time, so that's good to see. Michigan, we do see a few orange sites. This one, only 5,000 population, rapidly dropping. Here's another one that's orange, Eaton, 32,000 population, and it is rapidly rising. So that, my friends, is concerning. Anytime we see rapidly rising and already orange, it is a concern. How about Missouri? We got to do a couple there. Boone County, 123,180 people. Dark, it's low, and it is dropping. Then we come over here to Miller. Low, small wastewater site, but hey, it's dropping. That's good to see. And let's do one here in the western portion of the state. 8,082 people at this wastewater site. It's low and dropping. Now let's go down to Dallas, Texas. And this is the smaller site. There is a bigger one. 22,191 people. It is rapidly rising and already at orange. This other one, just 9,000 people. Orange and rapidly rising, which means it is moderate to high. And then you come to the one with 900,000 people, which is a much better picture of what's going on. And this one is slightly dropping. Then you come over here to another one that's 200,000 people, and it's just flat. Again, it's like Boston. It's like that New Jersey site that I showed you. It doesn't update frequently. I guarantee you, exactly flat like that is not how it is supposed to look. Then we come down here into southern, like Harris County, 20,000 people at this wastewater site, dropping. Here's another one, Harris County, 117,000 people, and low and dropping. Then we come over here, we do have an orange wastewater site. Let's see, Travis County, 510,000 people. It's moderate, orange, moderate, but it is starting to drop. And let's see, where do we want to go next? Let's go over here to this red one right here. We've been watching this. La Paz in Arizona, only 3,500 people, but it's red, which is high, but it is dropping. Then that brings us out here to California, and in California we see, let's start off with the Bay Area first. You can see 262,000 population at this wastewater site, and it is flat at this time. Here's another one. Again, a lot of these sites do not update very frequently, as you can see here. The majority of them are either dropping or flat at this time. Here's 494,000 people at this wastewater shed, and here's one that is rising with 215,000 population. And you can see it's not a rapid rise, but nonetheless it is rising. Then we come down here, we want to take a look at Los Angeles. Here's Orange County, that's flat at this time. Then we take a look at Los Angeles itself. Again, does not update frequently. 4 million population at this watershed, but it is holding steady at this time. How about up in Oregon? Oregon, we are rising ever so slightly. And then we come over to here to Washington, King, and Pierce, 896,000 people, and slightly starting to rise. It's low, but it's slightly starting to rise. May go to the next shade of lighter color, blue, in the near future. Utah, not so concerning. As you can see here, most of the sites are either flat or dropping. I don't think there are any rising sites. This one is flat to ever so slightly rising. And we'll just end today on Colorado. As you can see here in Colorado, Weld County, 83,319 population and dropping ever so slightly. Here's another site dropping. It's another one that's low and dropping. The majority of them are low. This one in Summit County, 14,286 people. It is rising ever so slightly, but it's starting off from the low category. Alrighty, folks, that does it for this week's wastewater update. Again, if I did not get to a site in your community, I apologize. I can't do every single one on the map. We would be here for hours. We will have another wastewater update, hopefully again next Sunday. I will see you all again later this afternoon, potentially for a pandemic update. We'll see how much news there is. Keep an eye on my Twitter. I will post there whether or not there is going to be one. If I don't see you, I'll see you all again tomorrow for a pandemic update. And until I see you all again next time, stay safe, everyone. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe down to my channel down below. And guess what? Thanks for watching. See you all again next time.